World War III is not a future fantasy. It is a possibility discussed daily inside military command rooms, intelligence agencies, and government offices across the globe. The question is simple, but the answer is terrifyingly complex. If a global war erupted today, would the United States be able to defeat China, Russia, and other hostile powers? To understand this, we must stop thinking emotionally and start thinking strategically. This is not about who is stronger. This is about geography, logistics, alliances, technology, and survival. Using the world map, we will analyze how a third world war would actually unfold, step by step. Paragraph 1. What World War III really means. World War III would not begin with an official declaration. There would be no announcement, no warning, no clear first day. Instead, it would start silently. A cyber attack here, a satellite failure there, a financial market crash that seems accidental. By the time the public realizes what is happening, the war would already be underway. Unlike previous world wars, WW3 would involve every continent within hours, not years. Paragraph 2. Why this war would be different from all others. World War I was a war of trenches. World War II was a war of industrial power. World War III would be a war of systems. Who controls information, communication, energy supply chains? Modern armies cannot fight without data. Modern economies cannot survive without global trade. This means civilians would be affected immediately, not eventually. Paragraph 3. The United States. A global military network. The United States is not just a country. It is a global military system. When you look at the world map, you will find American military bases across Europe, in East Asia, throughout the Middle East, scattered across the Pacific. No other nation in history has ever maintained this level of global reach. This allows the US to respond to threats anywhere on Earth within hours. Paragraph 4. American military strengths. America's greatest strengths are advanced technology, a massive air force, the world's strongest navy, global logistics capability. The US Navy alone is more powerful than the next several navies combined. Its aircraft carriers function like mobile military bases, allowing power projection thousands of kilometers away from American shores. Paragraph 5. But America has weaknesses too, despite its strength. America is not invincible. Its weaknesses include dependence on global supply chains, political division at home, vulnerability to cyber warfare, long and complex logistics. A global war would stretch American forces thin across multiple theaters simultaneously. Fighting China in Asia, Russia in Europe, and managing instability in the Middle East would be an enormous challenge. Paragraph 6. China. The rising superpower China is not trying to fight the United States everywhere. It is focusing on one region, East Asia. China's strategy is defensive and regional, not global. Its military doctrine is built around protecting its coast, controlling the South China Sea, reunifying Taiwan, pushing US forces away from its borders. China does not need to defeat America worldwidely locally. Paragraph 7. China's military advantages. China's key advantages include proximity to the battlefield, massive industrial capacity, large missile forces, strong cyber and electronic warfare capabilities. China can produce weapons faster than almost any country on Earth. In a long war, production matters as much as firepower. Paragraph 8. China's critical weaknesses, however. China has major vulnerabilities. It depends heavily on imported energy, global trade routes, maritime shipping. If the US and its allies control the oceans, China's economy could suffer catastrophic damage without a single invasion. This makes naval power crucial. Paragraph 9. Russia. The unpredictable factor. Russia is not as economically strong as the US or China, but it remains a military heavyweight. Its strengths include vast territory, massive nuclear arsenal experience in modern warfare, control over key energy supplies. Russia would likely focus on Europe rather than the Pacific. Paragraph 10. NATO and America's allies, the United States, would not fight alone. NATO includes most of Europe's advanced military's enormous industrial capacity. Additionally, Japan, South Korea, Australia, Canada would likely support the US. This alliance network is one of America's greatest strategic advantages. Paragraph 11. The naval war, control of the oceans. World War III would be decided largely at sea. Over 90% of global trade moves by ship. If one side controls the oceans, economies collapse, energy supplies fail, food shortages begin historically. Naval dominance wins long wars. Paragraph 12. Air power and missile warfare. Modern war is not about dogfights. It is about long-range missiles, precision strikes, air defense systems. Both sides would attempt to destroy. Air bases, radar systems, missile launchers. The first weeks would be devastating. Paragraph 13. Cyber and space warfare. Space and cyberspace would be constant battlefields. Satellites destroyed. Communications disrupted. Financial systems attacked. This invisible war could cause more damage than bombs. Paragraph 14. The nuclear question. Nuclear weapons change everything. Their existence prevents total war but also makes miscalculation deadly. If nuclear weapons are used, cities disappear, millions die instantly, the global system collapses. This is why every decision in WW3 would be made carefully and fearfully. Paragraph 15. So who would win? The honest answer is uncomfortable. There would be no real winner. The United States might survive. China might endure. Russia might resist. But the world as we know it would be permanently changed. World War III would not be about victory. It would be about who loses the least. Final closing paragraph. When we look at the world map, we are not seeing borders. We are seeing fragile connections holding civilization together. And perhaps the most important lesson is this. The true power of the modern world is not the ability to destroy, but the ability to avoid destruction. Comparison between US military and China. The military comparison between the United States and China reflects a broader competition between an established global superpower and a rapidly rising challenger. Both nations possess enormous military capabilities, yet their strengths, doctrines, and strategic goals differ significantly. The United States military is widely considered the most powerful in the world. It has unmatched global reach, with hundreds of overseas bases, advanced logistics, and decades of combat experience in multiple regions. The US excels in air power and naval dominance, operating the world's largest and most advanced aircraft carrier fleet. Its air force relies on stealth fighters such as the F-22 and F-35, long-range bombers, and a highly integrated satellite and intelligence network. Technology, joint operations, and real-world combat experience form the backbone of American military superiority. China's People's Liberation Army, PLA, on the other hand, has undergone massive modernization over the past 2 decades. While China lacks the same level of global deployment capability, it focuses heavily on regional dominance, particularly in the Asia-Pacific. China has built a powerful missile force, including hypersonic weapons and anti-ship ballistic missiles designed to counter US naval forces. Its navy is now the largest in the world by number of ships, and its air force continues to close the technological gap. In terms of manpower, China has a numerical advantage, with a much larger pool of active personnel and reserves. However, the US compensates with superior training, command structure, and battlefield coordination. Economically, both nations can sustain prolonged military competition, but the US still outspends China significantly on defense.